Hello, and welcome to our podcast about the man that sent rain clouds. Today, me and my classmates, Fernanda, Emilio, and Jesus, will be representing the Father Paul, one of the characters of this story. After hearing him and his perspective, we're going to do a bit reflection with some questions for us to understand him more. Father Paul is a priest who stands at the center of faith, duty, and inner conflict. Father Paul is not just a religious figure. He represents the struggle between belief and doubt when faced with the unknown. Throughout the story, he is called to guide others' spirituality. Yet, he himself questions whether his faith is strong enough to confront what lies beyond human understanding.
Now we're going to hear our character Father Paul's perspective.
I remember the day Leon and Ken came to see me. They spoke calmly, but something felt unusual. When they told me Teofilio had died, I felt a sense of duty. As a priest, I believe it was my responsibility to guide his soul properly. However, they did not ask me for a full funeral, only for holy water. That confused me. I went to the pueblo and saw the preparations. The family was quiet, respectful, but distant from our traditions. I began to wonder if their beliefs were different from mine. Still, I wanted to help. At first, I refused to bring the holy water without performing the proper rites. It did not feel right. But when Luis looked at me with hope, I hesitated. I saw their faith, even if it was not the same as mine. In the end, I gave them the holy water. As I sprinkled it, I questioned myself. Was I doing right? Then I looked at the sky. I saw the rain, clouds forming. Maybe, in some way, we had all done what was needed.
Next, we're going to hear the interview.
How does your character understand the events differently from others?
As Father Paul, I understand the events through my Catholic beliefs. At first, I felt confused because Leon and others do not follow the traditional church process. I believe proper rituals are important for salvation, so I struggled to understand why it didn't call me earlier. Unlike Leon, I see that more through religious rules than cultural traditions.
What does your perspective reveal about the culture or traditions in the story?
From my perspective, the story shows a cultural difference that I do not fully understand at first. Leon's community has its own traditions that are deeply meaningful to them. Over time, I begin to see that their way of honoring Teofilo is also respectful, even if it's different from my beliefs.
This was an amazing interview. Thank you for hearing our podcast again. We invite you to read this story because it is really great and meaningful.